questions to ask her, and we're going to go through those, and then some other people may be joining us. I hope so. Mm-hmm. And if you have some questions, just jot them down, because we'll have a Q&A somewhere around 11 o'clock, or we get done the questions earlier. We'll start with the Q&A earlier. So, all right. Good morning, Trish.
Good morning, Janice. How are you?
Good. Hey, so give us like a brief little CNN. This is who Trish Myrick is and what she's doing in real estate.
Well, just some brief things about me. I've been in the real estate business. I actually just celebrated my 12th year anniversary on July 9th. So I have been in the business for 12 years. I got my license, I earned my license when the market collapsed. So it was back in 2008 when we, kind of had a market crash. But I think getting my license at that time is what really shaped and molded me as I went through my years in real estate. I had to give us a little bit more light. And so with that being said, I learned not just the residential part of real estate, but I had an opportunity to learn the other things that real estate involves, because it's not just, buy and sell. And so from that point, I believe that I have evolved in the real estate business. So if I could just, give a brief synopsis about that, I remember me starting off as a baby, and then I grew. And now as I am growing and learning how to run a real estate business, I can say that I am in the real estate market to sell.
I love that word, evolve.
Yes.
Lots of movement in that word, evolve.
Yeah.
And I love words with action and
absolutely
changes the energy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So personality. You've got a big personality, I would say. You've got lots of great energy. So how do you think your personality has helped you or possibly hindered you? What has it done in real estate with the personality that you have?
Well, I believe that my personality, I'm optimistic. And so I don't believe in the word I can't. And that's probably a trait that I developed growing up, because my dad would always say, never say you can't. Tell me what you can do. And so in the real estate business, of course, I'm going after everything that I can do. And so if we get to a point where, I cannot, that's very difficult. So that can be a strength and a weakness. But the thing is, with me, I'm going to vet it until we have no other options. And so with being, very optimistic in this business, things change every day. And so with that being said, you do have to be optimistic and have a can-do attitude, because that encourages the people that you work with and who are around you.
I like that. Yeah. There is no can't. When to stop. Yeah. I love that. That's so tell me something that you've learned that you wish you would have learned earlier about real estate, but now it's like that bell just rang. You're like, oh my gosh, wish I would have known that way back when.
Yes. So one of the things that I tell others and encourage them, I wish I would have learned how to run my real estate business like a business. So, with Keller Williams, I've been here, I think 3 years. And so out of the 12 years minus 3 is when I really learned how to run it as a business, not just, a person, somebody that just does real estate, but somebody who owns a real estate business. And that's something that I wish I would have known, when I started. But, everything comes in time. And as I used the word earlier about evolving, part of my evolution was learning how to run my business as a business.
Can you give us an example so that Kai and Kaylin know what you're talking about?
Sure. So in the beginning, I was just like, I was a realtor. I was a real estate agent. So it was just, hey, I'm Trish. I'm a real estate agent. This is what I do, and I was doing everything. But as I evolved it into a business, and started doing a mission, having a vision, having goals that I wanted to do. Like I didn't do that before just as an agent. It was just kind of like day to day. Oh, I'm trying to get new clients. I'm trying to get clients. But you have to have a vision. You have to have goals. And once you have the vision and then you have the goals mapped out, then you do the work. And then when the work starts coming, you have to make decisions like, how can I delegate this work? Do I need to delegate this work? Because it does get to a point where, I've expressed that to you. It's like, I can't do everything, especially with me being business minded. So when you're thinking of a business, you're thinking big. And so it's not just me, Trish, do all the work. It's like, how can I achieve my goals, efficiently and not take away from client satisfaction. So when you think that way, it's not the little I anymore. It becomes a bigger vision. And so with that being said, my mindset had to shift. My mindset had to change. Because it just wasn't about, oh, I just want to have one closing per month. It became, how can I be my community's local expert and impact my community through real estate?
That's an excellent answer. So true. And you're doing just that. So that mission, that vision, your focus and clarity around that.
Right.
We know what we know.
Yeah.
And we don't know what we don't know.
This is true.
So, yeah, great point. I love that. Now, I love this question. So what's the most offbeat advice that you received? You actually followed it and it worked.
Well, before Facebook started having pages and advertisement and all of this stuff, now think back, this is 2008 social media, right? So my social media account was really my college account. So I just had this thought, and I had people say, "Oh, Trish, that's a good idea." I said, "Why don't I start advertising being a realtor on Facebook?" But then I said, "Well, I kind of want to separate my business from my personal page, so that way people who are professionals, can see that I have a professional page." And I actually, at my old brokerage, I taught a class on social media marketing, which now Facebook has ads, Instagram has ads, Twitter has ads, but it just took me having the thought and somebody saying, yeah, why don't you try that? I created a separate page, which is essentially the page I have now that I'm on all the time. But look at how Facebook has evolved, and now they do pages, and now they do ads. So it's like I was really ahead of my time, but that was the most offbeat thing to think. Why don't I put this on Facebook? And to see how it has evolved now, it's just like I was so ahead of my time.
Well, maybe we'll get you to do a Facebook class from the Marketing Center.
Perhaps.
Did you take Ty Anderson's Market Like a Rock Star?
I did not.
He's doing 2.0. We're getting it scheduled for, we were just working on it yesterday. He's pretty dynamic, and it's all about how to connect and all of that. So look for that on the calendar. It's coming out. I don't know, probably early August.
Okay.
Early August looks like. But so in today's market, what do you see as being some of, I'm going to use the word obstacles.
Okay.
Realizing that sometimes you can get over them, you can get around them, sometimes you get stuck by them, but what do you see as some of the obstacles today?
I probably have three. The first one is, as far as like buyers, it's the multiple offers, highest and best offers, because the inventory is low. So that is one of the obstacles that buyers face today. We have low inventory, and so 1,000 buyers want one house, and the sellers are elated because it's highest and best offer, And so when you're going in a multiple offer situation and highest and best, everybody has a different budget. Some people may not be able to bid more, or they may not be able to pay all their closing costs, which when you have multiple offers, it's kind of out the window. So the inventory being low for buyers is one. The sellers, because the inventory is low, and it's low with the sellers because a lot of them are still very apprehensive about COVID, just to be quite frank. And so that is also one of the obstacles, getting past the objections that they have about COVID to get them to list with you. And so that takes a strategy. It takes a lot of, conversation. It takes a little prayer. But, we kind of get through it. And I was on Amazon and I was purchasing shoe booties and hand sanitizer and gloves, just to make sure that my clients are comfortable. And to make sure that they have what's needed, and letting them know, yes, I'll put in the notes about please wear your mask, limit the number of people, just knowing those strategies to make them feel comfortable. So that definitely is an obstacle. And the third one I will say, and I won't necessarily say that it's an obstacle, but it's something that as a industry we have to work on, and that's just maintaining the integrity of the agent-to-agent relationship in the real estate transactions. And that is not being adversarial, but working together. And all agents don't have this great Keller Williams training because we are family. And so when you have a family, you treat people like family. And so when you are dealing with your co-agents that may not be a part of Keller Williams, you have to be the example. And sometimes that can be an obstacle if they haven't received, the level of training that we are fortunate to have.
And those were great answers. Can I go back to what you said about the buyers and the sellers with multiple offers? Because it's a supply and demand. The demand is high and the supply is low. So, that causes such a variance in. So when you represent, can you give a couple of thought processes? Like when you represent the seller, how do you proceed? When you represent the buyer, how do you proceed, in this type of market with the supply and demand? So interesting.
So with
I know it's not a question I'd ask.
No, it's okay. It's okay. With the sellers, I proceed with a lot of information up front. I proceed with the to-do list. This is what we can do to keep everybody safe and healthy, and assure them, that this is how we're going to do this. Having their input, they're going to voice their concerns, and it's my responsibility to make sure that everything that they touched on is handled so that they feel comfortable. And so, and that's just being very forthcoming with all information and having a plan. People work better when they can see like a plan in place. And so we go through, when someone comes in, it's the agent and the person that's making the decision. If they want to bring husband and wife, they say that's okay, but they just don't want a lot of people in. Okay, I got it. I'll make sure I put that in the notes. Like I said, going on Amazon and purchasing, and it was available. I was so happy. The hand sanitizer and the shoe covers, because they were out on like my normal real estate website that I ordered them from. They were out, so I had to go digging in Amazon to find them. Purchasing the mask just in case somebody doesn't have one. And that's reassuring them. Okay, she understands that we do have a mini crisis going on, but I have disturbed every objection they have by providing what they need to get people in the door. Scheduling and letting them know, well, hey, it's not just going to be people just coming in and out, but we're going to be on a schedule. They like that. So it's just giving them all the tools to succeed, putting it at the forefront in the very beginning. So that makes them comfortable. With buyers, we have a conversation up front because, of course, their lenders are saying, get closing costs. We need at least 3%. So I always tell my buyers in our initial buyer consultation, I have a 30-minute with them first before I send them to the lender. And so once they are approved, we have probably an hour conversation. I don't call it a buyer presentation. I call it a buyer conversation because it's two ways. And we have to talk about things like, in this current market, we have closing costs that are on the table that sellers will use as a negotiation tool. Do you have money saved in the bank? Can you get it from your 401k? Are you able to get it as a gift? Because if you like this home, it may be 10, 13 other families that like it too. And sellers use this as a negotiation tool. So I understand what your lender is telling you. I absolutely get it. But in order for you to get in the house that you want, you're going to have to manage your expectations when it comes to the seller giving you closing costs. So we have that conversation up front. So when we start looking and then we get into that multiple offer situation, I've already gotten them abreast of it. And I say, well, hey, they say they have 5 offers, and I talk to the agent, hey, well, Trisha got a lot of offers. We're going to do highest and best. And I say, okay, we're at highest and best. What do you want to do? But because they have been armed with that information up front, it's easier for them to make a decision. If they really, really want the house, Trish, no closing costs, and we'll go up because then I have money in place because Trish has told me up front. So if I need to request money out of my 401k is already done. If I have to, do a gift letter or get a gift, it's already done because I've told them up front. And so knowledge is power. And I try to put my clients in a position of knowledge so that they can make an informed decision about their real estate transaction. That's probably the biggest thing. Our biggest conversation is that hour that I really talk to them and go through everything with them so that they know what to expect.
That's wonderful advice and wisdom. And one thing that I can say about you is I've always felt, since we've been talking together, that you're always you always have the next steps of you talk about what the next steps are early on. I love that you said you've got your 30-minute conversation, then they talk to the lender, and then actually, I think you said 30-minute consultation, they talk to the lender, then an hour conversation.
Right.
You've got next steps. So you are always, they leave the conversation with you with already knowing that there's some other things coming down the pipe, whether they experience them exactly that way or not, then you can refer back. Remember when we had the discussion about closing? Remember when we had the discussion on a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you love this house?
Right.
So good job. That's really great.
You.
That's probably one of the reasons why you succeed at such a high level, because you are so thinking bigger picture.
Yes.
Yeah, bigger picture. Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. So success to people is, there's so many different aspects of what people call success. Some it's about money, some it's about, the happiness at the closing table. For some people, it's about, how many transactions they do. Talk to me a little bit about success. What's it mean to you? What's the good part? What's the downsides? If there are downsides, what do you think about success?
Success for me is not necessarily monetary. And I'll be honest, I don't really, I have contracts to close. So I don't really see how much I made on a transaction until I maybe see my pay at close. So my driving force is not how much a house is or how much a client may be spending. My driving force is making an impact on them through real estate. And so for me, success is number one, having control of my own schedule. Me being able to be there for my children, because when I worked in corporate America, I had someone saying, no, you can't go. You have to take paid time off, and I just did not like that. I wanted to be in control of what I was doing, because one thing I always have said, I can bank on Trish. I know how hard I'm going to work. I know what I need, and I know what's best for my family. And real estate initially, was something that I got into or thought about because I tried to buy a house and I didn't understand the contract. And I asked the agent about it and she couldn't give me any answers. So I started doing research like, what is this and what is that, blah, 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 blah. So I got into it really on happenstance of wanting to know more. That's why I really feed my clients as much knowledge as I can, because I want them to know what we just did. Like, we just bought a house, but what is it that you just did to get there? So that's success for me. When people can come back and say, Trish, this was a great transaction. And it doesn't mean that we had to hold hands and say kumbaya the whole time, but they understand what they just did. You know, my clients, they do become my family. Like, we still talk. And the biggest compliment that they give me is sending me referrals. And so that's success for me when I have a referral come through because they think that I did such a great job. That's success. And the thing is, I focus on the people. The money will come if you focus on the people. You focus on the impact of it. The downside of that is I am up, I'm late, I'm working. And I go after the transaction as if these people are my family, you know. And so the downside to that is, you know, a lot of times I may, you know, not be able to go here. I may not be able to go there. I got this going on. But when I take off, I take off. So when I have that time, that downtime, I do. But I'm busy. But the thing that really has helped me with the busy part is the scheduling. And that's something that, you know, we are huge on. So that's really the downside. I'm tired sometimes, you know, but I make it a point in my schedule to make time for Trish, to make time to run, to make time for even therapy, you know. And I don't, you know, express it to my clients like, oh, I'm running, I don't have time for you right now. No, you know, I have appointments. And that's how I convey it for the professionalism of my business. That appointment may be, I need to take a day for me. But my clients don't ever feel slighted because they are never in the mix like that. So, you know, when you are successful and you have business, it can get crazy like, oh my God, what's going on? But the best things that I could have done to counteract that is to start delegating and to stick to my schedule. So that has really helped me. You know, it's not about the money. People say more money, more problems, but don't focus on the money. Focus on the people.
Boy, there were a lot of nuggets in there. I wrote down. I wrote, don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Yeah.
Don't count your money before you got it.
That's right.
It's good to know the concept of it. Control your own schedule.
Yes.
Because the other fact, if you don't control your schedule, guess who's going to control
Somebody
your
else
schedule?
will.
A client
That's
will.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
And I have business hours. I tell them my business hours are from Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And the discipline of that, because 9:30 is a little later, but I understand people are working from home and all of that. But the discipline of that is my phone goes into do not disturb mode. So unless you're on my favorites list, you can't call me. But that's to also maintain the integrity of business, sometimes with people who are not necessarily trying to do business. So that kind of builds that boundary saying, you know, no, this is what time we talk about business.
Right. Well, we teach people how to treat us each and every day.
Absolutely.
So if we say we're 24/7, like an emergency room or a 7-Eleven.
Yes. That's how they're going to treat you.
That's how people are going to treat us. And so I applaud you for setting that and putting that do not disturb, because there is no real estate emergency.
No.
There really is not. It is call 911. So that's awesome. Something else you said that made me write down curiosity. And I believe your curiosity in others, I believe, is a real key to your success. Causes you to find out more about other people, where they are, what they're thinking, what their plans are,
what their needs are.
Move forward with the options. They still choose, just provide. Curiosity wins
all the time. It does, and I think because I want to see what it is that thing that you need that is your driving force in purchasing this home or selling that home. And once I feel and hear that need, then it's my responsibility to make sure that I've exhausted every option to help you reach that goal.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's a foundational piece.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the foundation of this business. So, some myths. People go, we see, $1 million listing, LA style, all that stuff. But not that I'm trying to direct you to that, but What are some myths out there that you're going, yeah, that's just not been my experience, not true for me?
Yes. I never forget when I was studying to take my test for my license. I used to watch HGTV all the time, and then it wasn't Flip My House, but I can't think of the name of the show, but the agents would go in and it was like the big three, and then they would pick which house is it going to be, house number one, house number two, house number three. That is that is stage. Real estate does not go like that. I have had clients to look at one house and was like, boom, this is it, we want it. I've had them people look at 25, especially in the beginning when I started, 25, 40, 50 houses. So the biggest myth, I think, is that, we look at these reality TV shows and it is not reality. That's not how it only gives like a little glimpse into what we actually do, but it's not reality. The other thing is like, it has to be like luxury and, it has to be a status thing. I enjoy working with everyday people. I love my investors. I love my luxury clients, but the people that you can see, touch, and make an impact on their lives, it's not all about luxury real estate. It's about helping everybody. And I think sometimes they have a misconception because they think as a realtor, you have to drive a certain car, you have to look this certain way. People appreciate authenticity. And so be you, and you'll draw the people as long as you're being you. So they think that they have to have like a facade or they have to have, a certain air just for people to work with them. That's not true, because people are going to like you for who you are regardless, especially the ones that want to work with you and do business. The last myth that probably is prevalent, and I kind of touched on it earlier, is that you have to be adversarial with the other agent. Like it's a competition. It's not a competition. Everybody is working together for the greater goal of your client selling the house, your client buying the house. So it's not a competition. It is enough real estate in Atlanta for everybody. But you have to capitalize off of what's in your lane. I'm not competing with the next agent. It's not a competition. I compete with Trish daily. How can I be better this year than I was last year? How many more homes can I sell from last year to this year? What is it that I need to do, to continue to make myself present even through success? So it's not an adversarial. We're not in competition. We are working together for one goal, and that is to get them close. So those are the myths, that I see. Like, oh, I'm going to get this person. Like, no, that's not it. That's not it.
It's cooperate. It's the co-op.
Cooperating. That is correct.
Yeah. I don't know who told me. Somebody came in to talk to me and said, "Oh yeah, $1 million listing LA, $1 million listing New York," and I was like, those agents are so adversarial with each other. I was like, that's not the way this works.
I don't even desire that amount of conflict in my life.
And I had never watched it. I watched other things. I never watched any of the real estate shows. But yeah, I found that so actually counterproductive with the people who were coming into the business. It's like, no, let's work together. Yes. Together, everybody achieves more,
right? Part
of our Y4C2Ts. Yeah. And yet that is something that the myth, because it's put out there in the media.
Yes.
And that everybody earns $1 million, and there are many people who earn $1 million.
It is. You have to work for it. Yeah. You can do it. I tell myself every day, Trish, you can make $1 million, but you're going to have to work for it. And knowing that is a goal, then it's just like I'm laying the framework and the foundation now to do that, but it's not about the million. My goal, honestly, is to be able to tithe $1 million. So that's 10%. You know what I'm saying? So that's a goal. It's not even making it.
Down for you.
Yes, I want to be able to tithe $1 million, and that's 10% of my earnings. So
legacy is worth
legacy, absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
businesses worth owning, careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living.
That's right.
Businesses I think worth growing, and legacies worth leaving. And that's a legacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm going to add that to your sheet of paper. Thanks for sharing that.
No
this
problem.
is really awesome. I love these. I find so much more out about people.
Yes.
And helps me understand more about them. I'm finding this really fascinating. I have other people too.
I hope so too.
All right, so education. You touched on education, and certainly Keller Williams is known for their education, from being a solo agent all the way up to the 7th level, being a millionaire real estate agent, and what it takes. Outside of the MREA book, the Red Book, the Bible, Gary Keller's book, what other books or audio tapes that, as a real estate CEO, entrepreneur, that you're like going, yeah, this is the book to read?
Oh, I wish I had my list. I'm going to check on Amazon because, I order books for like professional books. And I am terrible with names. But I ordered a set, and it was like maybe 8 books because my goal was to read like 8 books, read 1 book per month. Let me see, because one of them, I just can't think of the name of it. It was just so, it dealt with not necessarily real estate, but thinking and thought process. And so it was phenomenal. And I'm going in my orders now because I do want to get the name of the books that I ordered. And I haven't gotten to all of them, but the MREA book, I keep that one on my desk. That is if I have a new thought or an idea, I'm opening it up. I'm looking at, okay, how can I achieve this? And that framework is laid. If you have the thought, you just have to kind of intertwine it with what it is that you're trying to do to make it a goal and make it attainable. So that's the thing that I do like about the MREA book. It's like you said, it's our Bible. So we know what it is that, we need to do when we go to books.
Yeah. I love the fact that Gary wrote that book, and the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, it's not about the money. And it doesn't talk about real estate. So I think somewhere over page 100. So it could be millionaire tattoo artist, the millionaire landscaper. It's just the foundational pieces, the 4 models, the economic model, the lead generation model, the budget model, and the organizational model to keep growing to achieve what it is, anywhere between the 1st level all the way up to the 7th level.
Right.
So, Gary's got a list on, Gary puts out a list of all the books that he reads. He's a big reader, and Grit was one by Angela Duckwald. I might not have that. It's not the Grit to Great. It's not that one. It's just Grit. I believe she's going to be at Mega Camp when we do Mega Camp. Yeah, so I'm excited about that one. All right. Don't worry about your end zone.
Okay. I just can't remember the names of them. I'm so bad with names.
It's all good. No worries. Okay. Trish Myrick, you just received a $100,000 commission check.
Woohoo!
In a day. We celebrate those really big, those $100,000 days. A lot of agents come in and say, I want to earn $100,000. And we go, okay, so what would it take to earn $100,000 in 6 months versus a year? What would you do different to earn $100,000 in a quarter? What would it take to earn $100,000 in a month? All right, so now let's break it down to a week. What is different to earn $100,000 in a week? And then who do you have to be to earn $100,000 in a day? So you just earned $100,000 in a day. What are you going to do?
Woo! The first thing I would do is tithe, because like I said, I know where my blessings come from. So I will take my 10%, I would tithe. I would take 10%, the half for my savings. I probably wouldn't even spend anything. And this is just like the Trish stuff. When I go and I get commission, one of the first things that I do is I celebrate with my family. It's like, hey, where do you all want to go? And so we sit down and we break bread and we eat together. And then, as far as the financial piece, like I said, it's tithing, it's saving, it's still giving, because I do tithe and I give as well. And then I have other people that depend on my finances, so it's make sure I pay my people, but I also invest back in my business. So what is it that we need to get? Do I need some new signs? Do I need, some more super boxes? Just taking an analysis and making sure that I'm paying the bills to keep the business going. And so it doesn't matter if I get like a $2,000 check versus a $100,000 check. It may just be a little bit more money, but I still probably have the same strategy when I'm breaking it down. Even when they told us the different accounts that we needed to get, making sure I have money for my taxes and all of that. But just kind of breaking it down in the same way. And then seeing, like I said, even giving, who is it that I can give back to, are probably the biggest things that I do.
That's a great system to have. Many people follow a very, very similar system. And, we teach people how to run their business like a business. Gary has that great podcast, Think Like a CEO.
Yes.
It brings forward. He really breaks things down phenomenally. So thanks for sharing that. That was excellent.
No problem.
Right. So name one experience as a newer realtor, newer professional that you're like going, you got to know this. You just absolutely have to know it. So just learn it now.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of it is your license law. Like you got to learn the education of real estate, especially with the contracts, because that contract determines whether you're a good agent or not. Protecting your client, you gotta know that stuff. And our contracts change every year. If I don't take any other class, I'm taking my contract class. License law is now required, which I'm glad that they do that to make you do like a refresher every 2 years. I'm glad because laws change. And so when those laws change, certain real estate laws change. So we need to be abreast of those things that are changing. So knowing, like, because you got to be able to fight for your client. You may get into, different situations, and you may have to speak with your broker because, I call Nan, like if it's something I'm not clear or I may be a little unsure. Being able to, call and talk to your broker and be well educated, you got to know your contracts. That's the biggest thing that determines whether you're a good, great, or extraordinary or a bad agent. So you just have to make sure that the education piece you absolutely know. The other thing that I would say is an non-negotiable is probably you got to build good relationships. You got to build because you have a team. So you have to have good relationships with your lenders. You got to have them with your closing attorneys, with your vendors and all of that, because all of these people are going to represent you. So you have to take good time with learning and getting to know people because they also represent your brand. Your brand is what you are giving off to the public with, hey, this is, not just me, Trish, but, and that's why my business is Trish Sales Atlanta. Because it's not just me, the agent. I do have a team that work behind the scenes to make my brand look good. And so you have to make sure that whoever is around you is solid. They understand what the goal is. They understand what the vision. And you have to build, even if you're a new agent coming out, make sure that you have a good lender that you can communicate with. And it's going to educate you with the mortgage stuff because that changes, but just make sure that when you're building your brand, it's authentic and that you have a good team behind you. Everybody can't do contracts to close in the beginning. I couldn't. Everybody can't have an assistant from the beginning. I did not. But the one thing that I did do that I could not get around, I had to have good people on my team that was going to represent me. And that's down to lender, closing attorney. I used to work with like maybe 6 or 7 lenders before. I had to dwindle that down so that the people that are working with me is efficient and we're fluid. We know one another. We don't get into each other's face, and we just make it happen. So those are the two things: making sure you build your team and your brand, and making sure you know your stuff. I'm big on, like I said, knowledge for me, and that's too because I went to college and my major was education. So when I saw the teaching salary, I was kind of like, they should definitely pay teachers more. Yes. But yeah, those are the two things that I'm just like, you cannot get around that. Your brand is who people see, and the knowledge is what you have inside of you.
Yeah. I love what you said, and knowledge is power, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Knowing that contract, and it is, there's a lot of components to the contract,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the way I did it, it was like, okay, I want to be able to Reader's Digest condense with this paragraph meaning. So if somebody asks me a question,
Mm-hmm.
I can answer it.
Absolutely.
And if I don't know it, I'm just going to read it. Well, let's read it together so we're both extraordinarily clear. There's
Mm-hmm.
everything right with doing that.
Absolutely.
Because we're not attorneys. We're absolutely not attorneys, and attorneys wrote that contract. Yeah, it does. It changes every year. Actually, they amended it. It changes in January, and then they make amendments, corrections in March.
That's right.
Yeah, we do contracts classes all the time. And I love the fact that you said build your brand and create your loyalty with those people who are going to support you.
Yes.
The lenders, the attorneys, the inspectors, the appraisers, the post-closing, the pre-closers. Those loyalties will get you so much further.
And it'll get you so far. And even if an issue comes up, they will work twice as hard for you because you have built that rapport and you have that loyalty. Like my inspector has been with me for 12 years since I started. He has inspected my family members' home. And because he can't, be at 10 different places at one time, I did have to, build a relationship with another inspector. He understands that because he knows, he goes on vacation and it's stuff that, he has to do as well. But we're honest with each other about that. But it's just so important, and it's just things that I can send an email and it's like consider it done. Why? Because it's the respect level. We don't throw each other under the bus. I don't believe in it. I believe in team. And I did find my book list, Janice. If you would like to hear it,
I'd love to hear it.
Okay, so my book list. The first book was The Seasons of Life. And that's a book that definitely is by Jim Rohn. And it was very impactful. And even in that book, it teaches you about when you're planting it and then when you reap your harvest. It was just so phenomenal, even the time. And when I look at our real estate calendar, it's almost like this is what we're doing in the spring market, and we're planting the seeds and laying the framework, for that harvest. And all the time it's not in the fall. Now contracts are 30 days or 45 days. But because you planted the seeds in the correct season, even saying that in December, that's the time for you to recharge and reboot. Like it was just so phenomenal when I read that book. The Power.
Jim Rohn is an amazing author. Yes. I read from him all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Peale was another one. Oh my goodness! And just learning how to dispel the thoughts that cross your mind. Like, and we're human. We have thoughts that just kind of cross our mind, and we're like, oh my God, But the power of positive thinking and learning the strategies to dispel those thoughts, because we are in a high-powered, industry. And so it's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of darks that's coming at us. So knowing how to dispel those thoughts, like when they come across your mind, you can't do it. Yes, you can. And then he even, a lot of it is biblical too, that he kind of throws in there for you to repeat and to meditate on, so that it's ingrained in you. Awakening the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins. Another great one, because all of us have a giant that lives inside of us. But how do you awaken it? So, learning the strategies for that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad now. And that's by Robert. Yes. And it's so funny because I remember my dad having that book when I was younger, but never thought that it applied to me or applied to my business. So
interesting fun fact. So I joined Keller Williams in 2000, and Robert Kiyosaki and Gary Keller were like this.
Wow.
Anytime Gary was anywhere, Robert Kiyosaki was there. And we, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, we had the game book. We, Rich Dad, Poor Dad for kids. We had the literally game. Robert Kiyosaki came to town. Gary wasn't there. He's only come to town twice, maybe 3 times in all these years. But what a phenomenal read.
Yes.
Just what a perspective. His friends who had the rich dad mindset and his dad who had the poor mind.
Yes.
Yeah. Great one.
Right.
Keep going.
Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We dig into their schedule once again. And that has been probably my driving force. I'm able to see a lot more getting done because I'm sticking to the schedule. And the things like, highly effective people, they are up early. I don't even need an alarm clock. My body just gets up. It's like it's time to get it. But inherently, when it's time to go to sleep, sometimes it gets hard, especially those times that I'm really, really tired. But another great book, Think and Grow Rich. That one I haven't gotten to yet, but by Napoleon Hill. But another, okay, I'm definitely going to get into that one.
So the theme right here is all about positive mindset. Every single person, it's all about how you think and then what you do based upon how you think.
That's right.
Every single one of those is about positive mindset.
Absolutely. So
that's what you control.
Yes. And I have more, but if you don't have time, I can.
Yeah, let's get on. Those are good ones though.
Okay.
Some of the best ones right there.
Right.
And you can grow rich. Oh my gosh. Napoleon Hill.
Yes.
The only one I might add is, and I'm just thinking off the top of my head, the one I read this every year. It'll come to me. That's what happens with this aged mind. This mature, advanced experience.
Season.
So many things in it.
Yes.
We'll just see what comes out. Enjoy to think.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you could break it down to be successful in real estate today, in our economic climate, in our pandemic climate, in our civil action climate. What do you think it takes to be successful today in real estate?
It takes having a goal, vision, and a plan. You can't just go at it, what is it that, you just can't wake up and say, I'm going to do real estate today, and then tomorrow I'm not. One thing that John C. Maxwell says is that, and even when he came to Mega Camp, he said you have to chop the tree every day in the same spot, and eventually the tree will fall. So you have to be consistent. You have to get up every day. That's why it's important to follow a schedule. You get up every day and do the same thing. You have to outline. If you're lead generating, this is what I'm doing here. And people may say, oh, that's just so detail oriented. You do have to be detail oriented when you do real estate. But if you're making my calls here, I'm sending emails here, this is what I'm doing there. My showings are in the afternoon. I try my best, unless it's just a special circumstance, to say I do my best to stick to my schedule. So I do my showings in the afternoon because the mornings is when I'm capitalizing off of making my calls and staying in touch with people and returning those emails. And so you have to have a plan every day. So when I get up and I sit at my computer, I know exactly what it is that I need to do. It's not to say I'm not going to have interrupters, because I do. but I know that schedule, and I say, okay, this happened, but let me get back to this. What is it that I did not finish? I just discovered the stickies on my computer the other day, and it's like sticky notes that you can put, actually the digital sticky notes. And I didn't think my computer, I've used them in the past, but I didn't think that my PC had them. And I was like, oh, now I can put it on the computer screen. Because I write it down. I have legal pads that I'm like, when I'm talking to people, I write it down. So that's what I refer back to. So I was just like, oh, this is awesome. But in my day to day, I know exactly what it is that I'm doing. I keep a calendar. Woo! Calendars and reminders, because I'm human. I can't remember everything. It's not only my schedule, it's my family's schedule too. So definitely keeping a calendar. Staying up to date on the real estate news. I'm not a big CNNer. I will read it, I get the alerts, but I do pull more real estate business in, and I'm abreast of what's going on in the world, but I'm arming myself with, what's going up. I'm looking at the housing market, what is the news saying? What is the business news saying about it? So I'm getting a little blurred with that too. So
which ones do you go to? Like, are you going to Inman? Are you going to?
I do Inman, Atlanta Business Chronicles, the AJC, the Wall Street Journal. So it's not only me looking at the Atlanta market, because sometimes you can look at a trend and see it coming towards your market, saying, well, hey, this is what they're doing in North Carolina, based on these factors. Do we have these same factors in Atlanta? Just to kind of give yourself an analysis of where you think the market is shifting. Just like right now, I know the luxury home market, homes are just sitting. The people that are really, really going, are the ones that are probably up under that $400,000 price range. And so once
200 to 400.
That's right. That's where the bread and butter is right now. They're on. That's right, on the market and gone. And so it's watching those trends to see, where you need to be as an agent. Where do I need to advertise? Because you got to market and advertise too. That's a big one. And I will say I am frugal. So most of my advertising is done by me. And that's something that eventually I will delegate. But it's just finding that trifecta, someone that is going to market, I won't say the way that I do, but at the level or higher. Because that's the brand is what people see. Sure.
May I offer a different choice of words from frugal?
Sure.
Just in a mindset way, because your words are power.
Right.
You're expense management conscious.
I am.
You're very aware, expense management conscious. Very different thought process than frugal.
Yes. I am expense management. Right.
Right? Red light, green light.
Right.
You either go or you don't go.
Absolutely.
So
expense management conscious. I like that. And that's something that I will say, because that's exactly what I am.
Because that's what a business owner does. They look at their expenses. They are very conscious. They manage them.
Yes. And while I'm not afraid to, what we say, fail forward, I also look at the return on my investment, especially when it comes to marketing and advertising dollars, because let's face it, that's where we spend a lot of our expenses, right there, between salary, but then marketing and advertising, it's a big chunk. And so I had to learn software and learn how to, program myself in order to market myself. And so, the goal is to teach, a person how to do it. And like I said, I don't mind spending for the technology, but sometimes just that, it's a big overhead for that. But making sure that you're reaching the people that need you. Making sure what you're saying, and we go over, different marketing sayings and slogans and stuff like that, just to kind of pull others in. But, just making sure that, your marketing and advertising is down. I know like Facebook has marketing advertising. And when they first started it, I probably was spending like $400. I mean, it was ridiculous. But then when I started looking at their algorithms and all of that, I was just like, no, this is how I'm going to, I took control. I was like, this is my budget and that's it. This is my budget and that's it. And I could see my return on my investment because even if, like if I spent $200, if I got one sale, it really took care of that and some. So when I started putting the budget and just the stipulation on it, then I felt better about doing it. And it's not something that I do all the time because I do my bread and butter comes from, like, I know where and who to market to. It's knowing that too, having that knowledge and researching and saying, well, this person came to me via here, via there. You know, did they come to me as a referral? It's knowing where your business comes from too. Like for me, it's right. You have to track it. So my where my business comes from may look different from yours. You know, when I initially started off, my business came from open house. It came from me doing open houses. That's how I was able to kind of get in and be present and to show who I was. It was through open houses. Now, probably 80% of my business comes from social media. The other 20 comes from word of mouth referrals. And we can even do 75-25 because the referrals too, because Keller Williams is family and because we are a team, even agents in other states have started, hey, I got somebody coming to Atlanta, can I send you a referral? So that
across the world.
Yeah. So when people ask you
3 new markets and
right. Mm-hmm. Hawaii, it was somewhere in the islands, like Bahamas or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, from anywhere.
Right.
Really, just anywhere.
Really, literally anywhere. KW from everywhere. So don't limit, you know, it's not just Atlanta. Like we have agents in every state.
Every state.
Mm-hmm.
180,000 of them.
That's
across
right.
the world. So Trish, how do you want to be known professionally?
Professionally, I want to be known. Professionalism is number one. So knowing that I'm professional, I am educated, I definitely know my stuff, and that I believe in team. You know, it's not an adversary. It's not we're not fighting, we're not competing, but we're working together. And so when I think about leaving my mark and my legacy as a business professional and a business owner, those are the things that for my peers, you know, it's about knowing that I'm willing to help. You know, if I can help you, I'm willing to do that. If I can share that knowledge, I'm willing to do that as well. But that I also believe in team, you know, that's my biggest thing. Like we are a team and I have no desire to have any type of conflict with you. I'm not competing with you. If anything, we can do this thing together and still achieve it.
All right, so you're getting ready to cap.
Yes.
Send that over to me.
Yes.
So you're really
So
close to cap. You're going to be at 100% commission.
Yes.
And then you're going to be at 100% commission. What we see about 8.5 months?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the one thing that you're focused on now to help you stay on track and to really capitalize being in that 100% commission, earning all those dollars for 8.5, almost 9 months?
Mm-hmm. It's remaining consistent. Don't let up just because, I capped, yay, okay, keep going. So it's remaining consistent.
Push on the gas.
Yeah.
So does that mean planting more seeds or watering all the seeds that you planted, going back to what you said before, so you can reap your harvest?
Doing both of them. I'm consistently planting seeds, but I'm planting seeds for the harvest for those seasons. You understand what I'm saying? So.
Well, I do.
Okay.
Let's make sure everybody else does.
So the seeds that were planted, let's say from January, you know, they usually come into fruition, let's say about February, March. And then, but I'm continuously, you know, planting those seeds. I'm continuously staying consistent. I'm consistently staying in touch. I'm consistently being visible with social media. I'm consistently going to my education, you know, getting that knowledge that I need And so as long as I stay consistent and don't take my foot off the gas, in fact, press it a little harder because we don't even know where the market is headed. So, and we can't really forecast it or foresee it right now because we have another element that is kind of trying to take over. But I don't focus on it because you're not going to take over my business. I say it all the time, like, COVID, you're not going to take over my business. But just remaining consistent, continuing to drop those seeds. Even if it's just like when COVID first happened, we were doing care calls. And it was more so not even about real estate, but how are you doing? How are you holding up? I'm a mom too. How are you doing with homeschool? Because I'm about to lose my mind with this homeschool thing. But just having those very real conversations with people, y'all. We have to teach the people and show them that we care about them, because it's not about the money. It's about showing the community that, hey, I care. I care.
There's one thing that this pandemic, this global pandemic, I mean, 3 black swans all in 3 months. I mean, just amazing. Never it's happened before in our history. And it's like this whole second wave that's affecting so many people with COVID and their health. So those care calls they're paramount. And people want to know how much you care, and they don't care how much you know.
That's right. That's just how it is. You have to show them that, hey, I care. Hey, I'm here. I understand. Like I said, I tell people I'm a mom as well. So I get it when they were saying teleschool, and we talk about that, and they'll say, I'm so sorry. My son is loud. Hey, I have children too. That makes them feel comfortable, because it's not like, oh, I'm not trying, because as clients, they want to feel like they're being professional too. But hey, let's face it, everybody is having to work from home now. So if we're Zooming and your kid jumps across with a cape on, it's funny to me, because it's just like, this is the time that we're living in, but we're not going to stop losing sight of the goal. Because some people are fortunate to work from home, and so they can still purchase a home. We still have to think about the people who do have job loss and those type of things, and really empathize with them. And sometimes catching up with them gives you insight into those little things, or even saying, well, you know what, we're not ready to buy right now, but my sister was talking about purchasing a home. Let me give her your information. Let me give you her information. But it's only because you call and you really care. I'm not saying act like you care, really care about people.
Right. But people will know.
And they will know. They will know. That's why you have to be authentic, when you're calling, because they know if you're just calling, oh, let me just call to see, I'm just going to try to make a sale. No. And I let them ask me about real estate. How's the business going? Are you still in real estate? And with me allowing them to ask me, that opens up the door.
I'm having my best year. Thanks so much for asking.
Yeah.
How can I help you?
Yeah.
What questions do you have?
That's
who
right.
do you know that has real estate related questions?
Yeah.
Not necessarily who they, but who do you know?
Right.
Yeah, I love that. So with COVID, what are you doing differently?
Ooh.
What are you thinking differently?
Well,
outside of the care calls, because that's normal business anyway. It just seems like it's been elevated to another level.
Right.
So what are you doing differently? What are you thinking differently?
Well, first of all, I'm staying safe because, we're essential, so we're out in it. So I have my mask, gloves and lock boxes don't work with me, but I have lots of hand sanitizer. I have alcohol wipes, just the things to stay safe. Educating my clients, please wear a mask. Have a mask on hand just in case they don't. But just being very cautious and cognizant of that is the first thing with COVID that I'm doing. The second thing, because now in the listings, they have special instructions because of COVID. So when I'm showing and when I'm listing, I have to take all of that into consideration. When we're going in, making sure we're not having a bunch of people, making sure people aren't touching a bunch of stuff, but just kind of keeping them in the loop with that. And then as far as the contracts with COVID, we have special stipulations in there that say, if anything happens, because let's say someone was selling their home and all of a sudden they got COVID. So now you're talking about 14 days that they have to really go into quarantine to ensure. But now whether you're a seller or a buyer, because we put those special stipulations in place in your contract, you won't be penalized or lose your earnings money because you have contracted it or you've been exposed to it and stuff like that. So it's about protecting your client, like physically with the mask and all of that, but also protecting their money too, to make sure they're not going to lose it due to, COVID-19. So those are, probably the two biggest things. And with the contract, that being the biggest thing because you want to protect their assets, but putting that special stipulation in there.
Yeah. And, I believe one of the myths is that, okay, somebody's been furloughed or they can't buy a home right now or they can't sell a home. And, many people still can, and it's the agents who are taking a proactive stance of, okay, here's the situation. What are some options? And COVID has actually caused professionals just like you to succeed at such an extraordinary level, and other people who are not going to take the time, are not thinking like a CEO, are not being the best boss of themselves. Those who are following a schedule and putting very clear plans together, those who are succeeding at a high level. Brand new agents and experienced agents. And a lot of other people are getting out of business, which, hey, you know what's the saying? All boats float at high tide.
That's right.
We were in that for a while. Well, tides have come down. And so education, focus, business plan.
Being determined and motivated as well, because you have to figure out your why. Why are you doing it? Why are you, in real estate? Me having the opportunity to be able to provide for my family and making sure that they have their needs and some of what they want, that's probably my driving force. My children leaving a legacy. They have an opportunity to see me as a business owner. They're real estate kids, and they've grown up real estate. They've had the opportunity to see the business evolve. But I also, because I'm following that schedule and being consistent and having those goals and making those visions, they work too. Whether it's stuffing envelopes, putting stamps on, putting labels, and just showing them too that. It takes work. They see me up late, they see me up early, especially with the teleschool. I had to kind of incorporate their schedule and figure out how to still make it work even with their work. That was a challenge. That was definitely an obstacle, but I figured I have to get my work started first before I can get them started. So that, was something that was a challenge that I had to overcome. But they get an opportunity to see that. And just like I said, me being able to provide, just looking at when I was in corporate America, my salary was $29,000. And then my benefits package was $8,000, which meant I only brought home $21,000. And to be able to see what was made within a quarter, it has just been phenomenal for me.
Well, that corporate business,
right.
It's no safety net, put it that way. It's what keeps people in, not creating a life by design. It keeps people back. It truly does.
And I'm grateful, for that opportunity, but I used it as a stepping stone because I always knew, real estate is what I wanted. I went back to corporate America because I had to. But, I went through productivity with Keller Williams and was able to kind of come out. And was it scary? Absolutely. When it's like, because it feels like it's a safety net, because it's like, oh, what are you going to do about health insurance, blah, blah, blah. But, I made it work, because I knew what the goal was. And because of, hunkering down, I never forget when I said, okay, and things kind of disseminated with the corporate America job, it was just like, okay, what do you do now? And I wasn't even as diligent with like schedule and all of that. So I had to develop that, but still trying to run a business. And that's why you have to have those pieces in place in the beginning. So that way, because I was at corporate America, the stuff that we do, from at 9, 10, 11, 12 wasn't being done because I was at a desk working for somebody else. So I had to develop that discipline. And when I left there, I started coming to the office every day because those hours that I was already conditioned to do, I started doing them for myself. And so that's what kind of laid the framework and set the goals and making the calls and all of that. To the point.
Awakening the giant within.
Awakening the giant within, absolutely. But that's what it took. So you still have to have discipline is essential in this business. It's not eating out every day. It's not sleeping until 12. No. It's not. It's not driving a fancy car. I initially started off with a Nissan Altima, and guess what? It got me from point A to point B and from appointment to appointment, and it did not stop me from closing.
All that ego image. Mm-hmm. I get it. We all choose to have an image, but some of it was ego based, and I believe the media really propelled that even further. And people want to work with people that they feel like they can trust them. Yes. They're knowledgeable. They're going to straight shoot with them. They're going to be authentic, and that's what they want. They're like, great, you do well. I want to work with somebody who does well. I want to work with somebody who's successful for sure, but it doesn't have to be that outwardly. That comes from the inside and having the knowledge and being able to communicate clearly, efficiently. And everything's time or money. So how do you use people's time and money? Yes. It's efficient and effective in your own time and money. So being the best boss of yourself, oh my gosh, I was not the best boss of me. So I immediately hired an assistant, so my assistant told me what to do. Okay. It was great. I reported to my assistant. Right, here's your work today. I loved it. Like, great. I can work for you. Sure, I'm happy to pay you. I'm going to give you bonuses because you keep me on track. But that I do that about myself. I do that about myself. So, hey, so last question, and then we'll open it up for a little Q&A.
Okay.
What's your goal? Like, is there an end goal? Is there an end time frame? Is there an end outside of tithing $1 million, which now we know that? What are the most important goals that you see long term?
Well, my goal is, of course, to not to leave a legacy. I know the Bible says leave a legacy for your children's children, but also leave a legacy for my children. I've had the opportunity to show them that even with people, it used to be you go to college, you get a job, and you work, and then you retire. I want to be able to retire when I want to. It's not waiting until I'm 65 and I can draw Social Security. I want to have my own security so that when I decide I want to retire, I can. I said before, I'm big on education. So one of the things that I do want to segue in is into real estate education. So that things like teaching, one of the greatest things that I learned initially in the business is really how to be an agent. We get our license and it's just like, and it's an art to being a realtor. It's not just the education portion, like as far as the contracts and all of that stuff, but how do you deal with people? How do you have the mindset to deal with people? We do what's the quiz that we do when you're A, you're B, you're C, you're S?
Oh, the DISC.
Yes, the DISC. Right.
Behavioral.
The behavioral. So that's something that, needs to be kind of broken down so you understand how to deal with high functioning people. People who want all the paperwork and you got to read through it. How do you deal with them? So it's like an art to being a realtor outside of the open houses, outside of which will help you in the listing conversations and the buyer conversations to be able to meet your client's needs. And so that's one of the greatest things that I was probably taught, just how to deal with people, because everybody doesn't know how to deal with people. We have our own things that we do that we're just like, well, that's just the way that I am, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to change in order to be successful. You can tone down who you are, to be what you need to be to people.
Meet people where they are.
Right.
And which is a talent and a skill in sales, and to cultivate that.
Yes.
Somebody's a quick talker and a quick thinker. You got to be a quick talker and a quick thinker. You can't be a slow talker.
You cannot.
You're going to lose them.
That's right. You cannot
too
do that.
friendly, and they're not a friendly style person. You can't be overly friendly, which is hard for me because I tend to be.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
And some of them are kind of, especially now, I'm learning this elbow thing with COVID. Since you can't shake hands, you can't. I'm going to hug you. So it's so hard for me to be like, I can't hug you. Let me do the. Yes, it's like 6 feet social distancing. We can't do that. But even coming close to do that, I just say it's something.
That's too close now. Right?
That's the closest we can do. Yes, just like, hey, you got on the mask and everything, but that's my end goal. I want to be able to teach people what I did, and in teaching that, you're gonna always also see the things that you can improve on. So with being a leader, it's not about you leading; it's about how many other leaders can you produce. You can develop, and so that's the end goal. I want to be able to leave that legacy, of it's not just like me. I don't like you got the juice, but I want to be able to give it so that they can be successful too. Like that's one of the things that I wish I like being to an agent what I needed. That's like the goal. Like be who you needed when you were in that position. So when I do get tired of showing, or I say, well, I want to retire from that, but what else can I do to make a mark or leave a legacy? And that's exactly what I know I want to do.
It's been really awesome. Really awesome.
Yeah.
I remembered the book that I couldn't think of.
Okay, yay.
Man's Meaning of Life by Viktor Frankl while he was in a concentration camp. His book is a really powerful book. Again, all about mindset. Because that's what we control. We control what we think.
Yes.
Not always what we say. Sometimes it's the second words that we can control. We control who we're around. We control what we read. And that's what we control, mostly our mindset. And sometimes it's adjusting it from where it is. Okay, what am I going to do? But you and your mindset. I love that. I'm going to open it up for questions in a second. I just started rereading the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell.
Yes.
I just love that because there's nothing that makes me happier than creating other leaders and understanding that some people want to be leaders. And if you're in real estate, you're already a leader because you already made a decision to get your real estate license and to run your own business because you're a CEO, you're an independent contractor. The buck stops here. So I just started rereading that. And I was thinking, Trish, about maybe doing a quick book, book club on it, on the 21 laws. Yes. What do you think about that?
I think that'd be great. Because that's how leaders are developed. I think that would be great. I would definitely participate in that. I think I have the book already.
Do you? Yeah. I just decided to reread it. It was like, okay, this is time for leadership. There's just so many areas to grow. So, thanks for your time and all your insights. I took a whole page of notes.
Awesome.
So, opening up, Kaylin, Kai, Christina Ann, if I said that right. And some other people are already signed off. Does anybody have any questions for Trish or me? You can type them into the chat. You can.
No questions, but go ahead, Kaylin. Kaylin can go. Okay. At what point did you feel confident at your job? Like, at what point did you truly feel I can do this? Like, this is something that I want to continue doing?
Good question.
That's a great question. At what point did I feel confident? I would probably say my business, and I even had a fellow agent that's with another agent, another brokerage say this to me. When I came over to Keller Williams and I went through productivity and I capped, I think that's when the confidence is like, Trish, you were born to do this. You just got to do it. You got to believe in you. And so I think that's where my confidence, really turned on because I felt like I had the knowledge and the tools. And I also had the encouragement, to say, yes, you can do it. Yes, this is what you have to do. But having those knowledge and tools and being able to see, like Janice makes me track like I have a board at home, like I'm tracking what I'm doing. And numbers don't lie. When you see, oh my goodness, I'm here and I've closed 1, 2, 3, 4, like, wow, I really did that. Before I wasn't doing that. When I came over to Keller Williams, like I said, I learned how to run a real estate business. Knowing your numbers, knowing what you close, knowing how much they are, they're important, and that's something that I'm still working on, but I do make it a point. I'm writing it down. We now have Command, which is phenomenal. And then I can go back into the intranet site to see, my sales and look at my numbers, even if I'm a little off. And so just knowing that and actually being able to see it makes me feel confident, like, oh my, Trish, you're really doing it. It's really because I can actually see the vision. I saw the goal. I created the vision and the mission. I saw the goal, and now I'm seeing it and coming into fruition. So that's where that comes from. And I just say I can bank on Trish. I know I'm going to work. I'm going to be determined. I'm going to find the answer. Because this is my bread and my butter. This is how I eat. This is how I feed my children. This is how I take care of myself and my family. And so, with me knowing that and knowing the responsibility of that, that means that I had to grow, evolve, and increase and learn what it is that I needed to do to be able to say, well, this is how many deals I'm closing. Because sometimes when you go on an appointment, they ask you that. How many homes have you closed this year? They're asking you this. You have to know your numbers. And so with me just being able to outwardly see that changed with how I even dealt with myself, because it's like, no, you're a business owner. You're not just a realtor. You're an entrepreneur. You're building wealth. You're building a legacy. You're building a brand through real estate. And so once I understood that responsibility, then I had to start walking in that. And so every day it's just like, yes, you can do it. Because every day I met with challenges. Every day I met with positive things. But your mindset is everything. Am I going to let this bother me? Am I going to let it hinder me? I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to cry, and then I'm going to suck it up because I got to keep going. And so when you see, going through things, because life isn't always peachy, but when you see you going through the, the negative and coming out on top, that makes you confident too, because, there's a greater source that, definitely protects you.
Great answer. Mm-hmm. The tracking, everything in life is tracked.
Yes.
From our gasoline, how much we pay per gallon, to there's a number attached to everything, not just in sports and the scoreboard or the stock market or unemployment numbers. I mean, everything. What time first period starts in elementary school? It's tracked, right? Grades. There's a report card.
Mm-hmm.
Scale, the dress sizes, everything is tracked.
Okay.
And so realizing how it applies in your business, and having the tools right there at your fingertips with Command, that you can look and see where you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's tremendous. It's tremendous. That was a great question, Kayla.
It was.
Hi, did you have a question?
I did. I wanted to know, do you suggest speaking with a productivity coach often, or when do you suggest is the best time to speak with them?
I definitely recommend that you speak with a productivity coach often as you need. So you. So are you self-motivated or do you need motivation? That's the first question that I would ask myself, because it's about what do I need to help me be successful? For me, I'm more probably self-motivated, and then I'm self-disciplined. But these are traits that I've had since I was younger, growing up. So I was independent, and all of that stuff. And so the capacity that I needed, and no, I only had one productivity coach, because Janice is actually, it's not productivity. She's my real estate coach. So I need Janice in a different capacity than I needed, let's say, my productivity coach. Productivity coaches are there, they're driving, they're like, hey, well, let's do this, lead gen, everybody get on the phone, let's do this, let's do that. Now, did I need that because I'm already self-motivated? I would probably say no, but I participated in it because I still learned different skills that I could improve on. So I didn't just say, well, no. Did I have to talk through with my productivity coach sometimes some personal things that, I may have been going through? Absolutely. But did I need them like every single day? No, because I needed I was already self-motivated. So I didn't have to have the constant driver. It was already in me, and I'll use like my children as an example. My son, he's already self-motivated. He's self-disciplined, so my daughter, my oldest daughter, I may have to push her a little bit more. I have to encourage her a little bit more. I have to massage her a little bit more. But I understand that that's the difference in who they are. So for me, I didn't need the everyday. Now, Janice, we definitely talk about productivity, but at the same time, we meet once a week. Sometimes I have to contact her more than once a week. Sometimes I can't contact her that once a week. So it just depends on what I have going on, but it's not more so productivity, but it's making sure that my mindset is clear so that I am productive. Let me say that. So it's not like in productivity coaching, they're focused on getting you to cap. But what happens after you cap? Where's your mindset then? What is it that you need to do to keep going? And so that's probably the difference between productivity coaching and like coaching with real estate that I can say, because I've been through, the productivity program. I didn't need, she didn't have to call and wake me up every day. She didn't have to, motivate me, send me a motivational quote every day. I didn't need that personally. Some people do need that. So it just depends on what level you are at and what your needs are to determine how much you need them in your life to help you be successful.
Depends on how big your why is.
Yes.
And what you're willing to do.
Yes.
Because many people can do things. Many people are willing to do things. But are the people when you take action?
That's right. Are you going to do those things?
Yeah. You take action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we usually discuss gaps.
Yes.
Like what's missing?
Yes.
What's the next step? Because you're a next step thinker all the time.
Yes. And I do, I project, I'm foreseeing, okay, what is that I need to do? Okay, I have this going, but how do I continue the momentum? And I'm always thinking about that, because guess what? The bills are constant. The responsibilities are constant. So you better be thinking of the next step, to kind of stay in the game.
Yeah, because early on, it's about, okay, how do I capture opportunity?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I go find the seeds?
Right.
And I got to plant them. I'm going to keep talking to them. I'm going to keep watering them. I'm going to keep engaged with them. How do I keep them all moving? It's like all these plates moving around.
Mm-hmm.
They're spinning. It's like, okay, so when are they going to be ready? Mm-hmm. And so you're past that. You've already got that into a system. But as a newly licensed superstar, that's what they're figuring out how to do. Okay, I got to go find business. Mm-hmm. I got to stay in touch with them. I've got to do it systematically. I got to figure out who's hot, who's warm, who's cold, who does not need me my attention until whenever with that is. So good question.
And follow the system. Like the system, like the text message system that we have in place. I can't think of the name of the DT. Follow that. I still do it. It's certain systems that are in place that learn the system, but before you try to change it, learn it. Like it should roll off your tongue. You should know exactly what you're supposed to be doing before you say, I'm gonna implement me into it. And then some things, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. Just do it. And you'll see the residual of it, with you kind of keeping in touch with people.
Yeah, the tools and the strategies and the systems that we have in Keller Williams, putting them in place one at a time, maybe a couple at a time, and build the foundation and keep building. And then you get to a D2, and DT, D2. And now they're doing with Bold, you heard that, DT, D4.
Right.
So pulling up, which is do the database 2. That's what it stands for, do the database 4, which is reaching out to more than 4 people in the letters of the alphabet. So it's a whole system to stay in touch via text or phone call or email. Yeah, it's a great one. All right, any other questions? Christina Ann or Christiana.
Christina. Hi.
Hey, Christina.
Hi, how are you? I'm actually watching I kind of skip around and I watch all different Keller Williams from across the country. I'm in New Jersey, so I stopped being interested. And there's no classes on Saturdays up by me, so I thought this would be interesting. So yeah, I'm new. How is that?
Yeah.
All right. I guess where I'm at, I'm new, and it is what you were saying, Janice, about finding that initial finding the seeds. Where do I find the seeds and leads and all of that? Because everybody talks about lead capture and then how to nurture them, but it's getting that first. It's in your sphere, but should you do ads? There's just I think about too many things, so I'm just where do we go first? Right?
So can I give you a suggestion?
Yes.
And you're absolutely right. And in the MREA book, Gary talks about the 56 different ways to lead generate. And I realize that book was written back in 2002, and there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was no Snapchat, there was no TikTok, whatever else. None of those were out there. LinkedIn. Yeah, so what we talk about, let me give you a visual here. So you imagine a stool. A stool sits on 4 legs and it's very, very stable. You can sit on it, you won't fall over. So we talk about the 4 legs as being where each leg is a vertical of your business development. So what do I mean by that? So let me back up. So stools sit on 1 leg. No, you have only one business way to capture business. If you open houses, it's just not going to it'll get you somewhere. It just may not get you where you want to go.
Right.
And if open houses is your solution right now, then you go for it. You do it. You do them on Saturday. You do them on Sunday. You do it 50 weeks out of the year. You plan it. You know what you're going to do. Your sphere is always going to be a leg. Who you know, who loves you, who trusts you, who would want to help you if you ask them for help. Because you've got to ask them for help. So, but a stool will not stand on 2 legs. It'll be okay if nobody's sitting on it and it's leaning up against the corner. A stool can stand on 3 legs. It absolutely can. It's strongest with 4. So if you're going, okay, we've got sphere of influence, we've got open houses. If open houses is your thing, you've got maybe it's Instagram, capturing Instagram followers, and maybe it's for sale by owners or expireds or gone, those have not met people. So you just identify, and whichever one is the one that you're that's my one. I was always a networker. I was always doing this, that, and the other in my previous life. Then you go to that. And you capitalize that on the biggest and the best way that you can. And your sphere of influence. And you get those into the system, the follow-up system that we have in command. And we mail them, call them, see them.
Yeah, 19 touches, all that throughout the year, right?
It's 36. It's an 8x8 at first, and then it goes to a 36 touch. So you start by 8x8. So one contact, one reach out every week for the first 8 weeks, and then they go into what's called the 36 touch, which causes them to be touched about every 11 days, which that captures mindset. So Yeah, I mean, you just identify. Maybe you can talk to somebody in your market center about a 1-3-5. So here's my one goal of what I want to do. And here are my 3 silos, my 3 verticals of how I'm going to get there. And here are my 5 actions under each of those 3 goals. Maybe talk to somebody in your market center about creating that for you. And just get clarity. You may not have it all filled out at once. You may go, okay, great. I love open houses. All right, so open houses, what am I going to do? There's 7 levels to an open house. How many of them am I going to do? When am I going to do the open houses? How am I going to market the open houses? How am I going to find the open houses? Are they going to be listings? Are they in a certain area of town? Are they in a certain price point? So you kind of develop a whole plan around that mode of your way to capture business. Did that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, talk to your team leader, your productivity coach, the mentor in your market center, whatever that is, and just say, hey, had you heard about a 1-3-5?
Have I?
Yes.
No.
Okay. So go ask whoever that is, team leader, assistant team leader, productivity coach, compliance broker, whoever it is in leadership, and say, hey, I heard about a 1-3-5. I want to figure out where my lead generation opportunities, developing my business to achieve X. Now, that's the big goal. And X might be in a dollar amount that you want to earn in the next 12 months. It might be how many families you intend to help. Mine was always about how many families did I intend to help. When I was selling real estate, it was always 40 families a year I intended to help. Got to my sweet spot. I was like, okay. So to help 40 families a year, there were going to be buyers and sellers, and how was I going to do that?
Yeah, we have a big like a lot of people are trying to exit New York City right now because of COVID and like being in apartments. So like the business up here is crazy, and it's like I want to get in on that, and it's just like capturing those leads and finding those families, helping those families.
You've got to come from a place of care first. I know you weren't on the call earlier, but it's all about care right now. Who do you know? Now you scroll down and you find out how many people are in your phone, and you just start calling, hey, how are you doing? Because it's the same thing here in Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta has been really interesting since 2007. It's just had a lot going on, as a lot of major cities.
Right.
And it's the greatest time also because people are moving.
Right.
The early aspect. I'm not going to work from home without a dedicated office. I can't work off of the kitchen table. It doesn't work. Right? People want to move. People are like, oh my gosh, I love living with this person, and now we're pregnant. Now I need a bigger house, so we've got to move.
Yeah.
Flip side, I don't love living with this person anymore, and now we've both got
to move.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I want to live closer to my family. I want to move. I want to have a backyard. I want to live all by myself. I want my motivation. Right? Other people are going, I want to get out of the high rises. I don't want to be in communal living. It's a lot of opportunity. There really is. First, you come from a care. Hey, how are you doing? How's your family? How's this affected you? Because we're all in it together.
That's right.
Who knows for how long? We're all in it together. It's global.
And it's an easy conversation starter.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because I am wondering how a lot of people are in general. So it's
call and ask them. Just call and ask them.
Yeah.
And they're going to ask you how you're doing. It's the way it works. It's a quid pro quo. And then you say whatever you're doing and say, been in real estate and find it, and the people are moving. And for whatever reason, whatever their reason is, wow, I don't need to live so close to work anymore, which is happening in Atlanta. I can move further out because I'm working because they have shut down Coca-Cola. They have shut down
Right.
all these big corporations are saying, you're staying at home through 2021. So,
oh my goodness.
Why am I going to be living, because traffic is wonderful right now.
It is
Early 80s.
This is how the roads are supposed to work.
Yeah.
With millions and millions of people close. Oh my God, I could get through downtown in a hot minute.
Yeah, finally.
So it's just and we were talking about this, and Trish was talking about when we talked about the books that we read, and Trish talked a lot about the mindset books. Awakening the Giant Within, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know what other ones you said. You said some great ones.
The Seasons of Life.
Phenomenal book, Seasons of Life. Jim Rohn is amazing. And so all that's about mindset. So if you think it's not going to work, believe me, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
If you think it's going to work, you're going to find ways to make it work.
You're going to find a way to make it work. Having a can attitude, not saying I can't. What can you do? What is it that you're doing every day? Where do you hang out? Those are the people that you want to mesh with. If I go out to eat, and I'm talking to my waiter or waitress, I'm talking to them because one, I care about the people that's bringing me my food. But I'm trying to get in their brains, and I always leave them a card. Hey, who do you know? If you or somebody else that you know that's interested in purchasing a home, I'd be happy to help. But just think about, where do you hang out? I have children, so I'm at the PTA meeting. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And just in conversation, we end up talking about real estate because it's about where you live when it comes to school zones. And now I have families who are they have the big house and they're downsizing. So it's just like, where do you hang out? Where are you, being you in the authentic you? Those are your people.
Yeah. And it's where you shine when you're authentic. It's where you shine. People feel it, they see it, they know it. And the greatest question, Trish, you just said it, who do you know? Are you ready to buy a house where they think that you're the nail and you're the hammer pounding on them? Who do you know that's been talking about real estate and their real estate plans? Because it causes their prefrontal cortex to open up and think about who they know. Versus do you know, which doesn't cause any activity in the brain. Right. It causes yes or no activity.
That's right.
So, who do you know that's been talking about real estate and moving?
That's right.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, I know we've gone over, and first I want to say thanks so much to everybody who was here and has left and is still here. We appreciate you and your time. Trish, that was awesome. I took literally a whole page of notes.
Awesome.
I definitely want to talk to you about maybe doing a Zoom class on social media if you'd be open to it.
Definitely open to
it. Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. And we just look forward to seeing you all around the Market Center. And Trish, I'll send this to you. I'm just putting my email in here.
Okay.
Trish, I'll send this Zoom link in the event that you would like to share it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it, Janice. Thank you guys so much for listening in. If you have any additional questions, Janice knows how to reach me. But other than that, thank you so much.
All right, you guys. Happy Saturday.
Thank you.
Happy Saturday.
Bye, y'all.
See you later.
Love you.
Okay, my True Sales ATL family, you got an opportunity to hear me interview with actually my market center. It was a career day with some agents that are thinking about coming on. And the biggest thing, that I wanted to convey, to them and everybody else, it's about how much work that you put in. And so if there is anyone out there who is thinking about being a realtor, have thought about it, I would love to connect you guys with Janice. Janice is the assistant team leader at my market center, but she is also my real estate coach. And so we go over goals, we do all of these things to ensure that my business is successful. So I just wanted to touch base with you guys and just say hello. It's been a while since I've done a live because I have been in the field working. When I say in the field, it's when I'm driving around, I'm showing, I'm doing listing conversations with my clients who are ready to list their homes. So just wanted to drop in and say hello. It was a pleasure being on the live today and just being with you guys. And I appreciate those of you that tuned in. I appreciate those of you who support my business. And I definitely appreciate those of you who work with me and send me referrals. As I said, if you have any questions, my information is scrolling on the bottom of the screen, but you can call or text me at 404-819-4495. Again, 404-819-4495. That's my telephone number. You can follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. You can follow me even on Facebook. My handles are at Trish Sales ATL, at Trish Sales ATL, and my website is www.trishsalesatl. And when I say sales, that's SELLS, SELLS. So I hope everybody is having a wonderful Saturday. And if you're not, go make it great. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you later. Have a blessed day.